private first class, all the way up to master sergeant. I skipped over E6. I don't know why I went right from staff sergeant to master sergeant. Then over on the other side, it shows second lieutenant all the way up to major.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the different medals and awards that I wore. I joined the National Guard in Chicago.
Okay.
When I was 15 years old. Okay. And when I became 18, I told them I was 18, and they changed the records. And then when I retired in 1962, I thought I had only 21 years of service,
Mm-hmm.
and they gave me credit for 24 years. I said, how come? 3 of those years, I was underage. They said, yeah, but those 3 years were honorable. And so he gave you credit for it. Okay, and your grandmother, or your mom's,
Mm-hmm.
And I were at a movie in this little town of Tullahoma,
Mm-hmm.
and they turned the lights out and they said, Pearl Harbor has just been bombed. All you guys report back to your base. So our being 132nd, war was declared on December the 8th, 1941. 3 weeks later, we are on a board ship in New York, the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Our regiment was pulled out of the division, okay?
Okay.
Didn't know where we were going. On the ship, off we go. So we went to the island of New Caledonia,
Mm-hmm.
which was about 600 miles from Australia. We went there as a survival buffer because the Japanese were coming down. They had already got China, they got Burma, they got Singapore, all those places. And they figured if they could take Australia, they could cut off the supply route for any possible attack against the Japanese. So we went there and we set up defenses around this island. The island was only 90 miles long. It's called New Caledonia, and the capital was Noumea. It was a French island.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know if they were going to be friendly to us or not because of Germany had already taken over. So in the meantime, they discovered that the Japanese were building an airport in the Solomons, which is not too far from Australia now. In Australia, New Caledonia, and here was the Solomon Islands.
Mm-hmm.
So something had to be done because if they had an airport there, they're within bombing range of Australia. So the Marines landed, the 1st Marine Division landed. We have a Marine in the family. On Guadalcanal on August the 7th, 1942.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they did a miraculous job, a beautiful job. But 1 month went by, 2 months went by, and after a while, the casualties, not only from the Japanese bullet, by the way, we filled up a cemetery there, almost 2,000 graves, that's another story. The fatigue, the battle fatigue, the wounds, the dysentery, the malaria, and all that was finally beginning to take their toll on the 1st Marines. What are we going to do? There's no other troops at all in the South Pacific. They're all back in the United States. But here is 3 infantry regiments now, down here in New Caledonia.
Mm-hmm.
So they started bringing us up there to reinforce the Marines. So we landed there and we were committed right away. Okay, I had 2 brothers with me. William Wright, he was a lieutenant colonel, a battalion commander, and Captain Howard Wright, he commanded a heavy weapons company in the same battalion. I was in the 2nd battalion. So the 1st and 3rd battalions were committed to take this Hill 31 and Hill 27. Hill 27 was called Mount Austin, the highest point on Guadalcanal. Okay, they got stopped. Mm-hmm. And my brother, battalion commander, lieutenant colonel with the insignia on his collar, stupid, wanted to find out what was holding up his battalion. So he formed a patrol of about 8 guys. And they went up there and they found this Japanese hidden machine gun. Let me say at this point there were 60 hidden machine guns between that mountain and the ocean, 60 of them. He happened to catch one of them, okay? He exposed himself, he got a burst of machine gun fire across his legs, across here. He says, now we know where that machine gun is. Let's throw some grenades. So he stood up to throw another grenade, and the second burst got him right here. They were able to pull him back into a tree, and he bled to death. and a couple of the guys were wounded with their hand blown off and stuff like that. So they had to leave his body out there. And you know, an American is never left. So my other brother I was telling you about formed another patrol, and they went out there that night. And they brought his body back, covered in just I won't go into detail because there's no way to clean you up and what have you, you know. So they put him in the Guadalcanal cemetery. I took a couple of my guys, we went over and we decorated the grave. You've seen those pictures with the shells around it. I was discharged on July 14th, 1945, out of Fort Sam Houston, San Antonio, Texas. You talk to my grandfather, my great-grandfather, stresses this, 441,000 American men and women gave their lives in World War II. For what reason? To preserve the American way of life. And it's up to our generation, this sophomore class that you're in, is to make sure this is being done. This is the greatest nation on earth, and we cannot afford to let